hard in my study this thing on wisdom, the power that changes the world, the book. I kept telling our church family for at least 10 years, and I think probably closer to 15 years, I'm going to be teaching on this soon. I don't have the liberty yet, but I can feel it stirring, and I would say that every 6 months or a year or 18 months, and it just kept getting. I just didn't have the liberty to do it. And when they finally gave me the liberty, I could hardly stand it. I was so excited and happy to be able to talk about this thing that had been boiling in me for so long. And one of the things that just hit me so hard was the word that the Queen of Sheba gave to Solomon. It's a stunning word. Here's this woman that traveled such an extraordinary distance to come and to sit at his feet. And we find as we study the life of Solomon that all the leaders of that day did, and all the men of that day that heard of his wisdom actually left their posture, the position of being the head guy, over the country, to sit at the feet of another king, which is extraordinary. What would make a king leave his position of rule? And remember, kings in those days, their position of rule was for their comfort, safety, comfort, legacy. Those are the three things that were primary focuses in any king's rule. Was his safety, have people around him he could trust. His comfort, everything was for his benefit. The taxes, the food, the servants, everything was for his own personal pleasure and comfort. And then third, the legacy, my children and their children, to protect that thing on the throne. So here we've got kings leaving that place of rule for who knows how long, but for a season to come sit at the feet of another king. Why would a king do that? Why would somebody in charge do that? Because you don't see them humbling themselves in their own reign, over their nation. You don't read of kings that would just humble themselves and celebrate the people and do all this. You just don't read about that. It doesn't happen. So why would he do it in this theme of wisdom? I believe it's because whenever God raises up a leader, he puts something into their DNA where there is an automatic appetite for wisdom. They may not know what to call it. They just know it when they see it, and they'll pay any price to get it. If that conclusion is true, then the language of leaders is the language of wisdom. And you can always speak into those who rule. I mean, in a secular sense, you'll always have a word for those who rule if you can speak with divine wisdom. Yes, Bill, that's right. So the Queen of Sheba leaves her home country, comes and sits at Solomon's feet for an extended period of time. And she gives him this word. And this word is, if I remember correctly, it was a similar word given to David from someone else. But this one in particular is the one I want to focus on. She came to Solomon and she said, God has highly favored you, Solomon. He's highly favored you because of his love for Israel. Now just think about that statement. God has highly favored you because of his love for them. What's the implication? Is that if the favor that rests upon me does not benefit the people around me, then it was misused. If the favor given to me promotes me, if the favor that is given to me is used for self-promotion, promotion of our, we don't call it that, we call it promotion of ministry. If the favor given to me is used for those kinds of purposes, and they do not directly bring increase, blessing, safety, identity, all these things to the people that we serve, then it's favor that's misused. Now that's stunning, because that means then, in this upside down pyramid that Jesus modeled for us, is that all leadership, we have two basic roles in leadership. I want to get to Matthew 6, so if you get discouraged, you can close it, and I'll just tell you when to open it again later. But let me read this passage for you out of Peter. Oh, I should have looked it up. I'm sorry. One more page. If it's not here, I will. I apologize. I didn't think to look it up before, but it is in Peter. Either 1 or 2. Right side of the page, but it wasn't where I thought it was, so oh well. Watch it in 1 John, left side of the page. Anyway. Peter gives us revelation well, and it boils down to this. It doesn't matter where your place of authority is, if it's in the church, if it's in your home, your family, if it's in perhaps government, maybe a parliamentary leader or whatever, mayor of a city, whatever, positions of leadership in government. It could be the CEO of a corporation. It doesn't matter where it is. Every person in positions of authority has 2 basic responsibilities. Number 1 is to rule, the other is to serve. But what's behind those 2 is what's important, how they're applied. The ruling is always for the benefit of protection, and the serving is always for the benefit of empowering. Mom and dad of a home, you rule without apology. Why? Protect. You don't let them play with the matches when they're young. You set up certain rules to keep them as safe as you can possibly keep them. The ruling over them is for their safety, for their benefit. But also what we do is we learn to delight in their interests. When we have one son that is his interests are in music, we fund that. We help to buy the guitar, whatever it is that they do, the lessons. We are empowered. When we have another son that is a great athlete, then we make sure that they have the opportunity to play in the sports. The whole point is that in parenting or in authority, and that's what we're going to do, is transfer this that we would do instinctively in our home, we have to transfer to the church for how we do life. Because a real dad celebrates what's going on in the life of the kid, the child. I watch my children, I watch my grandchildren. I just had, some of you know, for my birthday every year,